evening from the Kidnapster Diaries. Tonight, I'm going to deal with what I call the non-profit casino racket. Rackets tend to be games like that volley between I being the ball, be the ball, as they used to say in Caddyshack, where you'll get nothing and like it smells, which it's these cliches that are inflicted upon the victim as style points for justification later, regardless of the outcome of the revolutionary. Well, what's going on right now? It's a land grab. And I have a lot of land. My plots are being utilized. There has to be a basis for plots. And there are a lot of people that want to be creators. And so my plots, Mr. Deeds has a lot of plots. So my plots are being distributed by some pimps who are in control, or in control by locking me out. Because by locking me out, therefore, I am unable to manage my estate. Therefore, it's land grab suitors grabbing what they want and utilizing to whatever capacity that they might find. And the pimps are these posers that are acting in lieu of lieu. I laugh out loud. And they're getting paid. Problem is, nobody's maintaining the estate, so it's just being demolished and therefore redistributed. That's my quandary with it. What I'm not getting, plus I'm not getting a cent out of it. So by locking me out is a act of war to be in. When I'm involved being invaded and being massacred because I can't get provisions, I can't get any sort of resources, and I am boycotted by those that are supposed to be on the similar strata of being from similar backgrounds, therefore something's really wrong. Somebody else is benefiting. So therefore they are selling their allegiances to other factions and selling me as far as for parts, which I am not allowed. It's that Sanford & Son salvage sale, fire sale, that I am not privy to vote upon because I was never able to convert the estate into tangible, real liquid assets. So therefore it has been usurped and distributed for me by the pimps, not paying, and it's solar. Seems a lot come from this orange thing. Well, the apple corruption, apple core corruption, and the orange being solar, most notably Syracuse orange, and which is in Sicily, the heart of mafia country, and Orange County, and the Tennessee Volunteer Orange, Mike TV get involved, which I am watching a lot of TV because I can't do anything else. Look out. That's the smells you'll, get nothing and like it. I like it because at least I have TV and internet. Wow. Woo! I mean, this is pretty good for my horrific nature. So the rank schemes, therefore, are utilized. So I am the casino. I'm a non-profit casino. I pay out every time. I don't keep anything. Everything I have, but everything must go low prices. And the Sanford salvage fire sale. So the low prices are free because it's non-profit. Based on the precedents of Mike TV, Tennessee Volunteer, and the JV Jesuit Volunteers. I don't know who came up with this distribution scheme on my behalf as being my pimps have decided that I'm going to give stuff away. Solar, like I said, orange, solar. So therefore, it's a non-profit casino. So it's just pay in and pay out. So somebody wins. There's a winner every time. The competition is who wins on whatever game they deem that I pay for. So the casino doesn't make any. I mean, it's the ultimate. Like I said before, they rig the casino to pay out every time. So therefore, nothing takes in. So I can't even afford vaults. I can't afford security. I can't afford lawyers. Hey, it makes it easy to, there's a winner every time. So the competition goes on The players are emancipated. You know, they don't need no boss to tell them nothing. They can handle it themselves. So they decide how best the competition, who's going to get my money. So there's competition in my casino house that's non-profit, that's been deemed non-profit. Therefore, because they are feel threatened by bank loans. They want to emancipate the money account. So me making a profit from my estate would allow me to hire competent resources to protect the state. That's not fair. They want it free. Orange County free. Soda. Nothing. Or wind or sun, whatever they want to call it. So it goes back to these rank schemes. It's a poker-faced world. So what they've done is they have taken the source of the estate, and then they're utilizing these ranked games of building upon who actually wins this stuff. And it seems to me that they're playing sides. Obviously, it goes back to, and they're always trying to use anything that was supposed to be my credibility to build credibility to control this estate as a Bureau of Land Management. They want to take my credibility, astronomical synchronicity, and use it against me. So, like we said, the Louis Marks toys, Rock'em Sock'em robots. They've turned us into Rock'em Sock'em robots because I can't afford control. Therefore, the house is under siege and controlled. So they allow, and they do realize. I mean, it's a long con. This has been going on, obviously, a long way. And they try to hide it as engineered schematics, slaughterhouse engineered schematics, or the mousetrap zoo catcher sort of thing, swamp people setting traps. So they don't want us to have any competent controls, and they won't allow me the resources to turn this synchronicity into tangible evidence, because therefore it threatens the free house casino, non-profit casino. Which I didn't think was funny. NPC stands the Nevada Power Control Committee. It's the Nevada Power. It just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, there's a lot of money, but they decided they wanted to cut us just completely out. So they went volunteer. They're trying to play the Mike TV volunteer route, to where I'm stuck in the bubble watching and it's orange, volunteer orange, and Smokey, like Smokey the Bandit or something. I don't know. These are all like I said. But it ties into the Orange County thing, where Cal State Fullerton is, the Titans. Hey, there's a Louisiana Pacific Stadium in Nashville that are the Titans. Wow, coincidence. And ties in with I think it ties in with high fructose corn syrup. I think they're converting that. They're turned it into solar, where they're turning my sweetness sugar bowl into other forms of sweetener, such as sucrose or fructose. And that's what I think is going on. And they don't pay anything because it's done by oranges. It's all oranges. That's solar power there, right? Sure, whatever, right? Orange Bowl. Sun Life, the Sun Life Orange Bowl now, which is an insurance. It just doesn't make any sense. Something's obviously going wrong. Obviously, they've decided we're just going to give away. But the problem is it's a vital balance mechanism in the accountability stand-up, because there's so much free loot. Therefore, it's changed the entire face of the game, to where now ranked poker face matters, and it's free casino. So, ranked games of stacked decks. So now, in this game of poker game mentality, or whatever it seems to be, they're generating. That's why the diplomas are worshipped so much, and these marks and scars and these things are worshipped rather than the legitimate realization of what it actually is. So, and I understand it now. Why it's like, I don't know. They inflict these things upon you. It's like what you wear to your graduation, or what you wear or do or doing matter more than who you are, because it's a poker game mentality, or it's really strange. It's these specific days in your life that matter. What you're wearing matters more than just about anything else, I guess. I don't know. Or it can affect you to an adversarial degree. So, therefore, based upon, and I think it was afflicted upon me because most people, they don't care. If somebody goes around and does something, most people don't really care. They don't really matter to the degree. I'm not saying that mean, but they're not being stalked. Like I was stalked my entire life, the corn stalk. And so, therefore, anything I did, I paid a ton. Any slight or any, rub somebody the wrong way with a little bit of friction, I paid a ton because, and I didn't know this. I thought I was, I actually believed in an anonymity world, but I was paying a ton. They were calculating my bill, the pimps. I pay, like I said, this all goes back to this better than Ezra mentality. Ezra Cornell being born on 111, same day as my mother, born on 111, and the Academy Awards, 111, and there's an All Saints Day, is 11/1, 111 also. That's a big global holiday. Then there was Charlie Kaufman, who wrote Being John Malkovich, or directed. Or he wrote or directed. I think he wrote it. And Being John Malkovich, born on 129, which is my birthday. But Charlie Kaufman was born on 1119. It was November 19th, not November 1st, but it's still, hey, 111 there. So that puts that rank head above this on the pyramid plateau scheme. So that this is all hooey hokum. Superstitious hokum. But hey, what else I got to talk about here other than writing some things? I can't get anything done. Wasting away in Margaritaville. I'm sober as a judge, pissed off sober, bored, starving from lack of anything to do, because I am sitting here literally throwing away. Well, there's several things I think at play. They want to waste most of my life, so I am stuck. I can never be super rich because they're really bad stalkers. I mean, we're talking about some psychotic fucking stalkers here. I mean, they want to keep me accessible so they can kill me. I can't get away. Hide in this vital time. They really, and they also wanted to turn the country against me. That enemy of the state mentality. There's all these little things like the Cobra Kai, make his fist bleed, from Karate Kid. Well, I think they want to turn me into an enemy of the state, so therefore I will never, they want to, it's this reverse the curse mentality. That they feel like there's this all coalition. So if they screw me bad enough, they'll buy favor with others. There's certain people that are trying to build bridges to Boston by burning me. And they figure that's one of the ways to do it. So they're not allowing me, I'm not allowed to, but I am stunted, not allowed to build bridges, not allowed to build relationships, not allowed to expand. I quit growing. Don't grow anymore. I'm done. I'm done growing. I'm stunted little nothing. Can't grow anymore because the kidnappers got a motherfucking gun to my head and they stole my wallet. And I'm the chairman of the board, being ridden around on a skateboard, of the non-profit Emancipated Fair Casino Players Club. VIP Gold Call. Thought it was another funny thing I discovered lately. 1984, there was a World's Fair in New Orleans, and I went to it a few times. They had a space shuttle. It was the only World's Fair to ever declare bankruptcy. They had this thing called the MART, M-A-R-T. There was a ride over the river. I don't think I rode it. They had a big thing with Lee Iacocca and Chrysler, I remember. And, but it was the year of 1984 being an Orwellian sort of year. But it was the same year that the American Express Platinum, P-L-A-T-I-N-U. We all know the new, and I'm always the or the new, the opposite of that. So what they were trying to accomplish in my estimation was a high. It's just one of those crazy loopholes. There's all sorts of loopholes to use my keys and lock me out, not be able to use them because they don't want to pay anything or they want to protect. I think what happened was they got scared because they screwed us so bad, so then they must bury us or kill us. Now it's that sort of mentality. We fucked you so bad, we have to bury your body out there like Silence of the Lambs in order to put you in a zoo. There's someone figured it to protect all these healthcare schemes. And there's all sorts of things like Blue Cross Blue Shield owns WellPoint. Common stock option was on 12/1, my sister's birthday. They own it. WellPoint owns a group called AmeriGroup, based in Virginia. That's a big V. That's a lock right there. And they were founded on my birthday, December 9th. So, but they're owned by a company that was founded on the day of my sister. Yeah, so, and then Blue Cross, which handles the state of Louisiana, the state healthcare. So it's all that sort of hoo-ha craziness that I can't seem to get around because I'm going to do my motherfucking head and they don't seem to want to let me go. That pimp game, pimp strong game, they are playing them pimp strong games at the non-profit casino. Government cheese. What it's all about. The government cheese forcing me to be exposed to these schemes that are utilizing my power and built on these rank things. So therefore, and we're discussing, or I was thinking today, one of the things that's going on, I'm working with a lot of my assets coexist within the realm of the Catholic world. Territory, I was more of a Bureau of Land Management sort of mentality. Smoky forest ranger trying to put out fires, but instead they had to make it harder on me and make the fires worse and make me wait until it's harder to put them out, to be empathetic because I had an advantage. And my pimps, which own the debt, they own me. Debt bondage on my body because I am so desperately in need because I was forced to be desperately in need of my pimps. Therefore, they were going to teach me to be loyal, desperate in need, to teach empathy. So therefore, because I was desperate in need, therefore I got to be empathetic to their bosses who happen to work in the system, and their bosses in the system don't have near the control that I might have had, so they had to weaken me down to where I would be sympathetic, empathetic on multiple levels. So their empathy pays too. Reverence is energy, and empathy, empathetic, is another. Well, it's about the electromagnetic. So they've taken me, and by plugging me into this corn thrasher, they throw me in the meat cleaver, they throw me in the meat, the abattoir, the slaughterhouse, chop my body up, and sold me for parts to be for middles by the whoever. So, but it's like an electromagnetic. Therefore, they've derived the electronic, called the batteries. That's where I think it goes into the Duracell, the Procter & Gamble, the Prince Charmin, partly there, because I was chopped down. They made a lot of paper, and the batteries plug into these electromagnetic, or the static, which is friction rubbing, and therefore, or S-T-A-T, like statistics, or that sort of thing. Parts of these rate games. So, my energy, I've been turned around. It's like turning the Mississippi River and flowing it uphill, that sort of mentality. That's what they've done. They've flown it up. They've turned my power to where I'm repulsive now because I am so empathetic. So therefore, they've reversed the current. They've taken all my machismo, like Austin Powers used to say. They stole my mojo. Well, they stole my mojo, but it's basically the electromagnetic or electrostatic magnetic attractant, and they put it off on all these other products that I give parts to. That's just part of what I give. That's part of the blood doping that they get. It's a little bit electromagnetic machismo based upon this non-profit casino game that is allowed to happen, and I'm not allowed to control my assets. So therefore, but that's one of the ways that it's doing is I'm giving out all this. There's certain factions. Not only am I powering the grid, But then also we've got these individuals that are control these electromagnetic and static magnetic attractants, whereas I am a repulsive troll, like the Troll Lord game, mentality. So that seems to be part of what's going on with it. And then they've stacked the deck. So what's going on though is because my power, the vast pool of assets that's being dug through me, ties into Europe and Latin America. But so you've got people that are getting degrees from these. It's like, look, say you get a Catholic degree and you get Catholic healthcare, and you're not necessarily, and you get positioned. Well, what they've done is they put me. I am a high value asset, and there are people that worship me, losing my religion. That R.E.M. song. Well, they lowered me down so long that people would spiral off to these other. That's where the electromagnetic and static magnetic things are. These networks are creating because they lowered me down to where nobody or you would be superseded in the poker face game by all these graduates with Catholic degrees. So you got somebody with an American with a Catholic degree in Catholic healthcare, but they are ranked way, way up high. But in Italy, which should be the sacred heart of the whole thing, in my estimation, and a high value asset, in order to compete with all these high value, because these people are having to value themselves with massive amounts of cash, which requires tons of junk and material worship. So therefore, it's drowning the world in cheap cash. Who, unless they want to build a whole bunch of crap on every corner, then they therefore dilute their inherent value. So if you don't build your cities out and sprawl, then you're not going to be able to race and compete. So therefore, a Catholic degree deriving its power from that part of the world in America is worth more than, let's say, a 2,000 or 3,000-year-old family in Europe. They might not have gone, they might not have gone to, and that's where it gets into this whole ranked game thing. That's why the USA has half of the top 100 ranked universities or top 500 ranked universities. Most of the world didn't, but see, the United States, that's why I'm forced into the game. They should have had that's the difference between Texas and Louisiana. But Texas is taking control of the Louisiana bank, and so therefore they're forcing Louisiana to play under the Texas rules, the feedlot sort of mentality, this game grid mentality, and that's why my mother and my family under control of the grid, this matrix game. It's like the Matrix, this grid, this Tron game grid where you have to fight or you're right to party. Because, well, it would be like making it's like tango and cash. Cash is king. And they get locked into general population, and they're hated because they're cops. So what they did with Louisiana was they locked them into general population because of debt bondage diplomas. So they've taken me, and I use Jesus as a metaphor, or eldest heir birthright based upon old world assets. So therefore, they've taken me, and my degree was paid for by my stepfather, who comes from the Texas bank. Therefore, his whole network it plugs in. Plus, I went to public school, and there was this whole 10-10 common thing. When I was in 10th grade, we moved from Louisiana. They had different requirements, like I took world history in 9th grade, and they didn't take world history until 12th grade, and I took economics, and they didn't take economics. So, and plus I was really, really young. I was always the youngest in my class. So I repeated 10th grade. In my senior year, I had 2 or 3 classes only. And so what happened was, because of that 10th grade repeating, and that happened to be, was that the year I played? I think I did. I can't remember if I was in some sort of thing. But there's a building called 1010 Common Street in New Orleans. It was built by Skidmore, Owen, and Morrell, and Louis Skidmore, who built a bunch of the buildings on Louisiana Avenue. And so what I think happened was, that was the 10 and the 10, like Ren 10, 10. That tin cup, like Kevin Costner, who happened to go back to, is from the Cal State Fullerton. It was a Delta Chi, the same fraternity, which is tied into the high fructose Cornell, and corn chips, in my theoretical estimation. So you've got 10-10 precedent. So therefore, you've turned Louisiana. It would be like it's the Tango and Cash. I'm telling you, it's the same mentality where you're making Louisiana is different for a reason. It was like supposed to, but Louisiana got lost in the shuffle way back when. And my family was never allowed or never had the resources to do anything. I don't know what we waited for. They kept shining lights on us, but they never did anything about it. And so we we were brainwashed like overboard coma to where we didn't even, we were forced to play the part of just one of the regular guys. Otherwise, like I started getting uppity, so I got ostracized. When I started getting uppity, all my friends ostracized me. When I started trying to escape, total ostracization, alienation. That's why that's part of the reason what was going on. That's how they maintain captivity. So therefore, that's why I'm mostly the only one working on this now, even though I am still, and they're trying to play the thing well. It's always playing sides, precedences, interpretation, because, well, we're going to play, it's the rock and sock and robot sort of mentality. So you got 10-10 precedent. Therefore, Louisiana was supposed to be different, therefore not necessarily part of the game grid. But Indian greed turned it around, so they got played. So now they've taken the power of the Jesus, being me, so which is a lot bigger than. So what they've done is they've taken the Christianity and turned it against my family, used against us because of debt lien. So the law is such a big part of society as far as the law and energy. So the law is because of certain factions. That's how they lowered me way down to where I am way, way down, even though I pay the most, way down in the rank. So therefore, because of the diplomas, and not to mention I went to public school, and I was beaten up beaten into the ground there. Didn't really know. I didn't have a clue about these permanent scars and marks. I never really put much credibility into that. I always thought it was I didn't see anything there to damage that was done, so I didn't necessarily do it. Or think about it, but the mob holds you to it when they control you. That's part of the reason we are being controlled we are kept, our power was shifted into the hands of those. So therefore the mob had they stampeded across me, these precedences, these marks and scars, therefore to inflict upon their will. So these stupid little things that have these crosses or things, I've now altered and mutated my genetics to where I am a cash machine distributing. That's the non-profit casino. So this is all based upon me owing money for a degree and living expenses now and internet and so therefore because of these liens against, therefore even though they're like worth maybe not even $100,000, probably 20 the whole bit education wouldn't that $10,000-$20,000 probably tuition. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars are made off of these, and it never gets recirculated into it. It's really bizarre logic. So it's just a loophole bypass around a loop around. Now, and therefore I'm boycotted, and I am forced into these. I've been stunted to where I'm kept small, so I cannot develop enough in order to become independent because I provide so much free solar orange energy, I guess. I don't know, theoretically speaking. Not really sure. It's bizarre logic. So, I mean, literally, That and I mean, there's all sorts of things going on there. Not to mention they wanted to dilute my strength because I had to have empathy to the system, or I had it's the pride. Juice had pride. Have you ever seen somebody on steroids with roid rage? Well, what's happened is you got all these people that are using my blood. They've drained all my blood and they're on these steroid regimen. They're juice heads, and they got real big and strong and proud because they're on juice. It's like that bee blood from True Blood, where it made humans get just these great, strong effects, kind of like, I don't know, steroids and cocaine and heroin or whatever you want to blend it. So that's kind of how it is. So they've held me down and drained me dry, and they've distributed all my blood, and they're distributing all my wallet and all this sort of stuff. And they won't let, and they make me play this game, but at a small level because I'm stunted. So therefore, I'm unable to do anything about it. So then they start factions against me. Obviously, people aren't very smart. There's different people at play. They're trying to get people to. They want people to screw me. That's why I am forced to be weak and vulnerable, so people will attack. When you're most of the levels of society that I am forced to pay upon, because the country club law stole my wallet and locked me out to play out in the woods with savage. But when you're stuck at the level I'm at, and I am a known high value target, so people are trying to make their bones against me, their credibility, and I can't even defend myself. I can't even use my body. I'm atrophied in a malnutrition atrophy. So therefore, it's like vulnerable and in a predatory state. So obviously, everybody's like, well, let's take, everywhere I go, I get attacked by the mob constantly, and so or hacked to pieces to where they can plug into me and utilize my body, and they keep me as a bitch warmer. Well, it's like I'm a giant. I'm like Crown Mountain sitting there in Aspen. I am a monstrous giant. But the mob wants to keep me on the bench because I would be a formidable threat to their non-profit casino, solar, power, free energy. And so therefore, their pimps, well, see, the pimps get paid. They don't make as, literally they basically said they sell me. There's intermediaries that sell parts of me, and then on multiple different levels, selling me for different parts. And so, therefore, I was hit by a number of different factions. I had wildcatter mob cops hitting me when I was young, and therefore they set precedences and all these sorts of things. And then I had all sorts of things. The country club law hacked me. Then you got the people that are using the diplomas. You got the people at LSU that think. See, that's the crazy part about it is they think everyone that with a purple robe at LSU graduation supersedes me because I graduated from another state school, regardless of the contribution or the global power, because they don't have the mental capacity yet. They're worshiping a degree. That's the crazy part about it is they're trying to figure loopholes into, but nobody seems to have risen up on a global level to handle this sort of thing. That's been the problem. Nobody's even come close to doing anything. So now they have to completely sell their soul to the system, which is destroying the whole part of the system that they've derived their power and assets from, which is a total craziness. Right? And there's things like 1888, the Washington Monument, M-O-N-N-U. That's it. It's new, an Omega New company back in. What else? First movie, Louis Le Prince. And then there was Harpo, Arthur Mark. It was actually Arthur Harpo. I don't know. Harpo, Arthur Marks. Ham, spelled that way. Or Harpo, Oprah, that sort of mentality. Was born in 1888. And Tri Delta, which is big because of the Trinity thing. This whole Trinity thing, I think, tribe is a big thing. And it was from Boston University, where there is the Boston Terriers with the mascot, which I think I paid for, of course, being inflicted upon as the relegated factors apply, and therefore, but what's going on there is they are, and 888 is a symbol, the Texas Capitol, state capitol. This probably set up a lot of this architecture, and my grandfather did used to own a hardware store. So what they've done is they've turned me into a parts for a lot of these big buildings. So they plug me into these, but it's free. I mean, it would have been one thing if you would have paid anything, and I would, had some sort of anything. But they wanted to be as cheap as possible, I guess. I don't know. I guess they were nervous about it. They did. That's why the world is really screwed up right now, to be quite honest with you, because everybody they decided they were gonna. That's really why the world screwed up, in my estimation, because they did cheap contracting, cheap materials. So I'm using materials to build these things. So Texas State Capitol built 1888. 888 is the symbology for being G, or something with the number of Jesus. So therefore, all of the Texas State, the whole capital, therefore would be superseding. What they're trying to do is play the Jesus card with over the aristocracy in Louisiana, in my estimation. Or, I don't know. That's just a theory. And then there's all sorts of angles going on with that. So that's just another one of those crazy coincidences about what's going on, in my estimation. And yeah, so it seems it's bizarre logic. Savannah's crazy stupid for doing nothing, in my estimation. I mean, literally lost a ton of what they could. I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all why anything would be done. Because they could have played the law card and tried to fix it and figure something out. They would have been a lot stronger. But I think they were trying to build a bridge to Boston. Seems like they really need Boston. And so they were playing that card, in my estimation. And the Gulf Stream thing, which is strange because, I mean, I probably contribute a good amount, or my family. I'd like to know what we contribute to our percentage of the board of governors, the board of governors, what our percentage is while we're getting nothing except screwed. My pimps are getting paid, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, we really got screwed in Louisiana bad. I mean, just horrifically bad. And there's health care because of the stack deck of the health care is now protect. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. It's really bizarre logic of what's really going on. And I can't really figure it out other than espousing my belief as to it just seems they're trying to inflict upon me this notion of omniscient presence, premeditate, which in my estimation, it looks like a slaughterhouse, a dungeon maze, or a trap sort of thing. I mean, that picture above me, that's how I feel. I was surrounded by traps everywhere I go, but I got a degree of damage. It's like I'm walking through a minefield. And I was big, and so they were blowing chunks of me off by inflicting me by forcing me into these different schemes. And they're worshiping the wounds. The wounds are sacred wounds because they're empowered. I don't know. I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me, but these marks and scars and precedences that are inflicted upon me are just horrific in nature because of my inability to accomplish anything and it seems like it only affects me, whereas most people wouldn't matter because my contributions are so great to the grand scheme of things, so therefore they really put the screws to me because like I said, it makes no sense to me why I'm still being boycotted, wasting all these years. Whereas, in my estimation, there's several motives for this. First, they wanted to alienate me. Enemy of the state was one of the things. and they wanted to alienate my muscle because just sitting me in a room with a computer would be exposing a lot of schemes, and by exposing schemes, I'm therefore alienating muscle. Therefore, what could have been, I could have been really big, so they're trying to shrink me down even if I do ever escape. They're hoping I don't escape. But if I ever do escape, they shrunk me down enough to where they can contain me or handicap. I mean, it's just insane, stupid. And who's really cost the world economy? Europe, which needed a strong central leadership, which it doesn't necessarily seem to have because the media is screwing things up. The media is being used as like mustard gas, nerve gas, disoriented. And they use me, they hack my brain, keep me, rather than me being on my focus medicine because of the network, they want my followers disoriented, discombobulated. So therefore, if I'm on the focus medicine, my followers focus. But no, they want to be easy pickings. So they want to, they want me discombobulated. But my followers are so goddamn stupid, they don't do anything. That's the crazy thing. It's like, and there's these long-term slaughterhouses, in my estimation. It started back when, I think it started like when I was in high school. So they started figuring ways to brainwash my followers into utilizing them, using them, like horsepower, harnessing horsepower. And they use my sister and my cousins, my sisters and my cousins, to harness horsepower followers by programming their lives. They program our lives to worship certain ways, certain ideological factors. Therefore, then it and you can see it. I mean, it literally is. So you got the Catholics did nothing. I mean, we're talking about 55 million Catholics in the United States, a billion worldwide, and I got zero help, nothing. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think they got into individuality pride. The Madonna really screwed them up. And I think that probably goes back to my stepfather before, who had a doctoral in pharmacy from the University of Tennessee, the Mike TV, Orange County, Orange Balls. I think that's where that came in with the pills. He was a doctor of pharmacy and a master's, MBA, and like a master's in finance. But so I think the Madonna thing came from Material Girl Individual is based on pharmaceuticals, in my estimation. That's where I think that came from. Therefore, it was screwing me up. They had to keep me small to keep the pills working, the energy to work pills. And then several other factors. So they would take the followers, which seemed to be, it would have been my mother's family in the South to a degree, Louisiana, which raging Cajuns, and I was always, the problem was I was always so discombobulated with my ADHD, I bounce off the walls and ideas melt real fast. But, so they started programming the followers to use them for to steer, or to use them against me. They were using my muscle against me. They always trying to figure ways to create conflict, that's the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, to turn them against me by being horrifically handicapped where I can't live competently, to be alienated, therefore to create a conflict and strife. And so that worked out good. But for the most part, no help at all. So what should be my muscle? California, New York, stonewalled me, completely blockaded me because I was engineered by the chemical plants or universities or the meat markets or the pills or whatever. So I've been boycotted by what should have been my family agency, WME, or CAA, completely shut out, locked out, and now they're worshiping. It's like Tango and Cash. I'm telling you, the general population, Tango and Cash, because they got brainwashed. I think by my sister, brainwashed. a lot of them, and me. So they brainwash, and it's hard to see, but I can see how the brain, what happened to me, inflicted upon, turns these certain, creates an ideological alteration based upon the development of technology in society. Obviously, there was seemed to be some more thought process to this to a degree. Just don't exactly know who would have benefited the most about from it. So, yet it seems to me that slaughterhouses that were set up, so no help from any of the Catholics, which I'm steering the bus, and it's going off a cliff, and I'm steering it, and everybody's just being cool poser cats. No help at all. And the way they're doing this is because they want to keep, they're just desperate to keep, they want this stupid notion of keeping me small. For some odd reason, they want a gummy bear or a Smurf or whatever. So, and therefore, the debt diplomas and the exposed energy networks are killing them. I mean, they are being massacred by these hacks, but hey, they're proud, posers. Same with in my estimation, the Jewish factions are getting massacred by my hacks, but I'm not allowed to correct them because I'm boycotted and locked out, and in my inability to create, build wall, build a structure to protect myself and identify. What I need to do is assess all of the dangers. There's got to be a way, and I don't think it would be very hard if I just had some competent lawyers to go through and figure something out, or figure something out. But I am forced to where my body, I've been skinned alive to everything. I've been blanket covered to where I can't even escape because it's this captivity notion. Because I don't know, it's bizarre. So that's my espousal for the eve.